Hey, fellow social workers. My name is Aneem Awe. We're getting ready to do an interview for you for your medical social work or case management role. This is an interview, so get ready. I'm just joking. This is just a mock interview. In this video, I'm going to present you with the questions that the hiring manager will likely ask you during your interview. I'm going to highlight the significance and the importance of the question while also highlighting what they want to hear from you in these questions. And then lastly, I'm going to tell you how you should be answering this so that you can set yourselves up for success the next time you get an interview. And if you have questions about resumes and all that good stuff, make sure you let me know in the comments below. But for today, we're going to focus on this. So you ready? All right. Hiring manager activated. So the first question that you will likely get asked is to tell me about yourself and your social work career, right? This is a standard question in every interview, regardless of what discipline, what field you're going into. And in this question, we want to hear about your path. What they're wanting to hear is patterns of unstableness or patterns of consistency, patterns of you demonstrating leadership, patterns of you demonstrating creative thinking, patterns of you demonstrating that you are a thoughtful social worker and you're really committed to growing as a social worker, you wanting to do different things and try different expertises within the social work field. And so one of the best ways that you can answer this is just like, hi, my name is Shantae, and I've been a social worker for 5 years. I graduated from the University of Massachusetts and completed my MSW. During my MSW years, I did 2 clinical internships where I really got great experience to work with an interdisciplinary team. And within that team, I had to make sure that I coordinated services, communicated with the doctors and the nurses, and that I was able to hit the important deadlines to ensure that clients got discharged on time. So in that response, I just highlighted everything they want to hear, right? I highlighted that I work with interdisciplinary teams. I highlighted that I am an effective and strong communicator. And 3, I can hit those deadlines that are important to ensure that, lastly, the discharges happen. All 4 of these areas, if you look at any social work, medical social work, case management role, are very vital for the role. So I've already demonstrated and highlighted within that quick clip how I was able to do that and how I already have the experience in doing those things for this work. So that is probably going to be the question that you get hit with from the get-go. So you want to make sure you knock that out the park, leave a really good impression on the interviewers. The next question that you will likely get is, and I wrote my questions down for y'all, hey, how do you prioritize your caseload when you have multiple urgent needs, right? What this is testing for, what they're looking to hear is your organizational skills, right? How do you triage? How do you, handle crisis situations? And how do you handle things under pressure? This is so important for case management and medical social work because let me tell you something, curveballs will be thrown at you nonstop. Deadlines are there. Patients got to discharge. Doctor might send you something at 4:50 and you got to leave at 5 o'clock. They want to hear how you are going to juggle this. You got to understand something about medical social work and case management. Prioritization is key. The only way you will knock this question out the park is how you demonstrate that you can prioritize and you know how to delegate, right? And so you got to the perfect way to answer this is essentially by highlighting how you prioritize the needs of the company, how you prioritize the needs of the hospital, how you prioritize the needs of the patients. And I've always been under the impression that basically discharges take top priority. As social workers, patients ain't gonna die because of us particularly, right? That's on medicine, right? That's on the doctors and the nurses. But we do got to make sure we get them out and in a timely fashion. So prioritizing the discharges, prioritizing service coordination, and prioritizing sort of the referrals as it relates to that. So this is a good response, a strong response rather. I assess each case based on the medical acuity, safety concerns, and discharge timelines. For instance, if one patient's housing is at risk before discharge and another needs emotional support, I'd address the housing issue first to avoid delayed discharge. Then schedule follow-up with the second patient. I document priorities and I update the care team so everyone is aligned. That response highlighted what? Prioritization. It highlighted how I handle different situations when they're thrown at me, and it highlights that I'm still a strong communicator. Again, these are very important skills when it comes to case management and medical social work, because communication, there are often going to be communication breakdowns. It's not always going to be on social worker, but it happens and you got to learn to navigate it. Again, patients are discharging and that is the priority, right? We got to get these patients on to wherever the next level of care is, so that is always going to be the top priority. Now, if you take nothing from this video, please make sure that the top priorities, and you can check in with the manager once you get hired and get on board, but the top priority is always discharge, right? From there, it's assessing the needs, intakes. Those things typically have to be done in 24 hours. And then service coordination, right? Now, you may work in a team where you have extra help and support where they can help with the service coordination part, but those are the top needs. And when curveballs like homelessness is thrown at you, we can talk about that. If you have questions, just let me know below. Just write homelessness in the chat, and I will definitely make a follow-up video because that can be complex. It's also going to depend regionally where you are and what you have access to, because regional policies impact what's available to our patients. And as a social worker, you've got to know that. All right. Let's see. Choosing from the next question. Let's see. Okay. The next question I'll say is, how do you approach working with patients from diverse cultural backgrounds? Now, if you know you're a social worker, you know cultural competency, cultural humility is so important. And what this question is trying to understand is like your ability to adapt, your ability to avoid bias, and your ability to present cultural humility or cultural competency. And this is important because hospitals serve everyone from every background, especially if you're in a major city. And so we want to, or they want to rather, because I'm not a part of the hiring team anymore, but they want to ensure that you, as a social worker, you're competent in that area and you understand what's available to you as far as like cultural humility and cultural competency. Because part of cultural competency is like the language piece, right? And it's not the expectation that you should know how to speak this person's native language. However, do you have accesses to resources and tools to ensure that this person can get the information that they need to make the informed decision, right? Whether it's like going on to the next level of care or whatever have you. So I'll repeat the question. How do you approach working with patients from diverse cultural backgrounds? And so a strong response would look something like this. I approach each patient with cultural humility, asking open-ended questions about what's important to them in their care. For example, I once supported a patient whose family had specific end-of-life customs. I coordinated with the care team to honor those preferences, which has built trust and improved the patient's comfort. That's a perfect response. And always highlight how your past experiences play into whatever the presenting question is. How do your past experiences support what you're applying for in this role right now? Whether you worked in healthcare or not, you still have experiences that align with what is being asked. And so you want to always highlight that, because that is demonstrating that you have the actual you've done the work, right? You have the experience that is needed to get this job. And so always infuse that into all of your responses and highlight how you've taken leadership, highlight how you've taken the initiative, highlight how you've gone out of your way, highlight how you went the extra mile for a client. Like if any time is a time to shine and brag on yourself, like this is a time to do so. So don't be modest, don't be shy. It's time to highlight all your greatness in that moment, and so don't hold back. So we'll go over one more question. One of the question I think will come up towards the end probably is, how do you take care of yourself to avoid burnout in a high-stress environment? Please understand, hospitals are high-stressful environments. There is always something going on. There is always a need. Very rarely is like something not happening, and so this question is trying to test emotional intelligence, insight, and self-awareness. They don't want a future burnout risk. That's the reality. They don't want somebody that they know in a couple months he or she is gonna just flat out burn out and never show up to work. That I'm sorry, but that's just the reality. So, a strong response for this would look like something like this. I set healthy boundaries, debrief with peers, and use reflective supervision to process challenging cases. Outside of work, I prioritize exercise and mindfulness. This helps me show up fully for patients without carrying the emotional weight home. So within that response, it demonstrates and highlights that you are utilizing the tools within the workplace to kind of help you decompress, but also you're taking the extra initiative at home and taking care of yourself so that you're a healthier employee coming back in. Even though employers need to do their part, but we can talk about that in another video. So those are the top questions I definitely see being asked, and don't forget to also come prepared with your own questions. Ask them, challenge them. How do you support your employees in preventing burnout? What does the agencies do about this? How's the hospital promoting burnout prevention? So make sure you come with your questions prepared as well. But I honestly believe if you can answer and knock these questions out the park, that you have no doubt will be moving forward in the process. So please, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Let me know what other questions that you have below. Until next time, take care.